Americans, do we get to pick and choose which laws we want to follow?
We do not.
If you're a state court judge, do you get to decide you don't want to follow federal law?
No.
And if you violate federal law, you get arrested, don't you?
Yes, Senator.
That's called equal treatment under the law, isn't it?
Yes, Senator.
You remember Lisa Page and Peter Strzok, don't you?
Yes, Senator.
Mr. Strzok worked for the FBI. Mr. Strzok worked for the FBI. I think Ms. Page worked for Justice. The Inspector General found in its investigation that they hated President Trump and they really wanted Secretary Clinton to win. Is that true?
That's correct, sir.
Hello, Patriots. Today, we're diving into one of the most pressing questions of our time. Is our justice system broken beyond repair? Senator John Kennedy just grilled FBI Director Kash Patel in a hearing that exposed the corruption, incompetence, and outright lies being peddled by the elites in Washington. From Hunter Biden's laptop to Jeffrey Epstein's mysterious death, it's clear the American people have been lied to over and over again. If you care about truth, transparency, and holding the powerful accountable, you need to watch until the very end. This is a fight for America's soul, and it's time we stood up together. Before we dive into these shocking revelations, make sure you subscribe to Conservative Mandate. We're here to expose the truth the mainstream media won't tell you. Hit that like button, share this video with every patriot you know, and drop a comment below to let us know what you think about this hearing. Together, we can shine a light on the corruption and demand accountability. Now, let's get into it. Senator Kennedy started by exposing a shocking case in Wisconsin where a judge was arrested for helping an illegal immigrant escape federal custody. Kennedy nailed it when he asked, do Americans get to pick and choose which laws to follow? The answer, of course, is no. But apparently, if you're a liberal judge, you think you're above the law. Patriots, this is why we need to stand firm on the principle of equal treatment under the law. No one is above it, not even activist judges. Next, Kennedy turned this...
Mr. Director, worry not. We'll make sure your agency is adequately funded. This judge you arrested in Wisconsin, she was breaking federal law, wasn't she?
Yes, that's why we arrested her.
She was helping an illegal immigrant escape being taken into custody. Is that right?
Yes, and the field agents decided to open the case, work the case.
And as Americans, do we get to pick and choose which laws we want to follow?
We do not.
If you're a state court judge, do you get to decide you don't want to follow federal law?
No.
And if you violate federal law, you get arrested, don't you?
Yes, Senator.
That's called equal treatment under the law, isn't it?
Yes, Senator.
You remember Lisa Page and Peter Strzok, don't you?
Yes, Senator.
Mr. Strzok worked for the FBI. Mr. Strzok worked for the FBI. I think Ms. Page worked for Justice. The Inspector General found in its investigation that they hated President Trump and they really wanted Secretary Clinton to win. Is that true?
That's correct, sir.
And this would be the same same Ms. Page who sent an email to Mr. Strzok with whom she was having an affair. Trump's not ever going to become president, right? Right? And Mr. Strzok with the FBI, senior official at the FBI replied, quote, no, he won't. We'll stop it. Did I read that correctly?
You did, Senator.
Okay. Now, Ms. Page got quit before she could get fired. Mr. Strzok was fired. And predictably, they filed a lawsuit because in Washington, it's easier to divorce your spouse than it is to fire a federal employee. Why did the FBI give Mr. Strzok $1.2 million and Ms. Page $800,000 to settle a lawsuit?
Senator, I do not know that settlement was reached in the prior administration.
Who made the decision?
The prior Department of Justice.
Who in the prior Department of Justice?
The settlement for that kind of case can only come from the Attorney General, which would be Attorney General Merrick Garland.
So the Attorney General decided to give Mr. Strzok $1.2 million and Ms. Page $800,000 after they were fired after actively interfering in the 2016 election. Is that right?
My understanding is that was a settlement they agreed to.
Pass me the sick bucket, please. The Hunter Biden laptop. In October of 2016, shortly before the election, the New York Post wrote a story that was widely covered talking about Mr. Hunter Biden's influence-peddling scheme based on his laptop. A couple of weeks later, Secretary of State, soon-to-be Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, organized a group of 51 so-called intelligence experts. Had some real rock stars on the list. Jim Clapper, John Brennan, Michael Hayden, Leon Panetta, and they said, oh, no, the story in the New York Post is not true. It's based on Russian disinformation. You remember that?
I do, Senator, as the lead investigator for Russiagate for the House Intel Committee.
Yeah. The FBI had had the laptop for 10 months, hadn't they?
They did, Senator.
So the FBI knew right before the election that it wasn't Russian disinformation, didn't they?
And that was confirmed by the Inspector General's report.
Yeah. Who at the FBI refused to let the FBI tell the American people the truth?
I don't have that name in front of me, sir.
Well, would you look?
I will, sir.
I'd like to know. I'd like a name, not a division. I'd like the name. Person with a brain and a beating heart.
Yes, sir.
Did Jeffrey Epstein hang himself or did somebody kill him?
Senator, I believe he hung himself in a cell in the Metropolitan Detention Center.
Are you going to release all the information about that?
Senator, we are working through that right now with the Department of Justice.
When do you think you'll have it done, Kash?
I think in the near future, sir.
Like before I die?
Senator, we've been working on that, and we're doing it in a way that protects victims and also doesn't put out into the ether information that is irrelevant for production of the public, such as CSAM.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Reid.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Director. As you're well aware, Doge...
Next, Kennedy turned the spotlight on Lisa Page and Peter Strzok, the disgraced FBI officials who were caught red-handed interfering in the 2016 election. The Inspector General found they hated Donald Trump and wanted Hillary Clinton to win. Strzok even texted Page, no, he won't become president. We'll stop it. Let that sink in. A senior FBI official said, we'll stop it. This is the deep state at work, folks, and it's absolutely disgraceful. And what happened after they were caught? Were they held accountable? Of course not. The FBI gave Strzok $1.20 million and Page $800,000 in lawsuit settlements after they were fired. This decision came straight from Attorney General Merrick Garland, who decided to reward these people for their corruption. Kennedy summed it up best. Pass me the sick bucket. This is your tax dollars, our tax dollars, being used to coddle and protect the very people who try to undermine our democracy. But it doesn't stop there. Kennedy went after the Hunter Biden laptop cover-up. In October 2020, just weeks before the election, the New York Post broke the story about Hunter Biden's influence-peddling scheme. What happened next? Antony Blinken, who is now Secretary of State, organized 51 so-called intelligence experts to label the story as Russian disinformation. This list included deep state puppets like Jim Clapper, John Brennan, and Leon Panetta. These people lied to the American people to protect Joe Biden's campaign. And here's the kicker. The FBI had Hunter's laptop for 10 months before the election. They knew it wasn't Russian disinformation, but chose to stay silent, deceiving millions of voters. Kennedy demanded to know who at the FBI made the decision to bury the truth. He didn't want vague answers or bureaucratic doublespeak. He wanted a name, a person with a brain and a beating heart. Patriots, this is the kind of accountability we need to demand from every government agency. The American people deserve to know the truth. And then came the bombshell moment. Kennedy asked Kash Patel point blank if Jeffrey Epstein hanged himself or if someone killed him. Patel said he believes Epstein hanged himself. But here's the deal, patriots. The FBI is still withholding critical information about Epstein's death. Why? Were they hiding? Patel claimed they're working with the DOJ to release the information, but when pressured to give a timeline, he gave a typical bureaucratic non-answer. Do you smell a cover-up? Because I sure do. This is why we can't trust the establishment. Whether it's Hunter Biden's laptop, Jeffrey Epstein's death, or rogue judges breaking the law, the elites in Washington think they're untouchable. Well, I've got news for them. Patriots like you are waking up, and we're not backing down. We demand truth. We demand transparency. And we demand justice. So here's your call to action. Subscribe to Conservative Mandate right now. Like this video, drop a comment, and share it far and wide. We need to get this message out. Together, we can hold the line against corruption and fight for the principles that made America great. Stay strong, stay vigilant, and God bless America.